In our headlines on this Monday afternoon, January 15th, here on the Korean Peninsula. North Korea confirms its testing of a solid-fuel intermediate-range ballistic missile earlier on Sunday as its top diplomat heads to Russia for bilateral talks that are triggering much concern here over their broader security implications. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, the armed confrontation between Israel and Hamas reaches a grim milestone of 100 days, marking the most prolonged period of conflict between Israel and the Palestinians since the former's founding 75 years ago. And Taiwan has granted its ruling party a historic third presidential triumph, and its president-elect Lai Ching-te has pledged to promote democracy amid the presence of external forces. North Korea says its latest ballistic missile test was successful and comes on the heels of a three-day diplomatic agenda by its top diplomat in Russia this week. Our foreign affairs correspondent Pyeonji starts us off.
North Korea state media claimed Monday that it successfully tested a solid-fuel intermediate-range ballistic missile carrying a hypersonic warhead the day before as part of the regime's regular activities to develop its weapon systems. It said the test firing did not affect the security of neighboring countries and that it had nothing to do with any situation in the region. The North fired the missile toward waters off its east coast at about 3 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. The South Korean military assessed that the missile, launched from an area near Pyongyang, appears to have been an intermediate-range ballistic missile that traveled about 1,000 kilometers before landing in the East Sea. It added that it shared information on the missile with the U.S. and Japan, and that it's analyzing further details of the launch. In the meantime, the top nuclear envoys from the three nations held a phone call on Sunday and strongly condemned the launch. They said the latest launch has once again shown that North Korea's illegal provocations are the causes of instability in the region, and warned that the security cooperation between the three countries will only become stronger as the regime continues to engage in more provocations. Sunday's missile launch comes about 2 months after the North claimed to have successfully tested new solid-fuel engines for intermediate-range ballistic missiles. Solid-fuel-powered missiles are harder to detect than liquid-fuel ones. And intermediate-range missiles have a maximum range of 5,500 kilometers, which means they're capable of striking U.S. military bases in Guam or Okinawa in Japan. Meanwhile, the North state media also said its Foreign Minister Choi Sun-hee has left Pyongyang to visit Russia. It said her visit from Monday to Wednesday is at the invitation of her Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov. The two isolated governments have been forging ties following a rare summit between their leaders last September. Officials from South Korea and the U.S. have said the North appears to be supplying military equipment to Russia for use in its war with Ukraine, while Russia was providing technological support for the North's satellite and missile programs. Pyeonji, Arirang News.
Over in the Middle East, the fresh fighting between Israel and the Palestinian militant group Hamas has marked a sobering milestone of 100 days. Our Yoon-jin has the latest.
On Saturday night, the events of October 7th were commemorated by thousands of people in Tel Aviv, including families of those killed or kidnapped, carrying posters and wearing T-shirts featuring the faces of their loved ones. Just after dawn 100 days ago, thousands of heavily armed Hamas fighters stormed through the Gaza border fence in several places and killed more than 1,200 people. According to Gaza's health ministry, Israel's subsequent attacks against Hamas have led to 23,938 dead and some 60,582 injured to date. Without making a distinction between civilians and combatants, the ministry says roughly 70% of the dead are women and children. Nearly 8,000 more people are reported to be missing, presumed dead under rubble. Meanwhile, a day after the U.S. and U.K. launched airstrikes targeting Houthi rebels who have been attacking ships in the Red Sea, the U.S. military struck another Houthi-controlled site in Yemen early on Saturday. U.S. Central Command said the follow-on action was conducted by the Navy destroyer USS Carney using Tomahawk land attack missiles, and that the missile strike was based on the determination that commercial vessels in the Red Sea were at risk. While Iran continues to deny its involvement in attacks by the Houthis in the Red Sea, Tehran is suspected of supplying the Houthis with weapons, and the U.S. says Iranian intelligence is critical to enabling the Houthis to target ships. U.S. President Joe Biden said that after the latest strikes on the Houthis, the U.S. delivered a private message to Iran about the Houthis in Yemen. Without giving details, he said the message was delivered privately and that the U.S. is well prepared. Conflict in the region could widen as Yemen's Houthis have vowed retaliation, and U.S. military and White House officials said they expect the Houthis to try to strike back. 이은진, Arirang News.
Taiwan has granted its ruling party a third presidential triumph, and its president-elect has pledged to promote democracy in the face of external forces. Our Lee Seung-jae reports.
After winning Saturday's presidential election, Taiwanese Vice President and now President-elect Lai Ching-te described his win as a victory for the community of democracies, adding that the Taiwanese people have successfully prevented intervention by external forces through their actions. Lai made no direct reference to China. During his victory speech, he further stressed that the election results highlighted Taiwan's choice of democracy over authoritarianism, and that he would walk side by side with democracies from around the world, expressing his inclination toward independence for the island state. In another reference to China, Lai said that the election results showed that Taiwan had successfully resisted efforts from external forces to influence the election. Washington responded to the election victory for the pro-American candidate, with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken congratulating the Taiwanese people on President-elect Lai's victory, saying it demonstrated the power of democracy and the electoral system. He also added that the relationship between the United States and Taiwan will deepen through democracy. President Joe Biden, however, said Saturday that the United States does not support the independence of Taiwan. The U.S. is expected to unite more strongly with Taiwan in the future in the economic and security fields to keep China in check. The president-elect's push for Taiwan's independence, combined with closer security ties with the U.S., could potentially spark further tensions between Taiwan, China, and the U.S. 64-year-old Lai secured over 40% of the votes on Saturday, beating out new Taipei City Mayor Hu Yu-yi of the main opposition Kuomintang and Ko Wen-je from Taiwan's People's Party. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, in the Swiss ski resort of Davos this past Sunday, security officials from 83 countries sat down to discuss peace in Ukraine. The latest gathering is said to be the fourth of its kind and comes ahead of the World Economic Forum, which begins on this Monday. Participants to the latest peace talks led by Ukraine included non-Western nations such as Brazil, India, and Saudi Arabia. China declined to partake in the talks, while Russia was not invited. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is also poised to address the World Economic Forum this week. The government and the ruling party here have shared a number of measures aimed at easing the cost of living for those financially strapped. Our Moon Hye-ryeon has details.
As part of efforts to support people's livelihoods this year, South Korea will be extending its electricity rate freeze for vulnerable groups. This, along with other measures, was discussed during a meeting of senior officials from the government, the presidential office, and the ruling People Power Party on Sunday. Around 3.65 million households will be eligible for the extension of the year-long rate hike freeze, which was implemented after the government raised electricity prices last May. Next month, around 400,000 small business owners and self-employed workers will be able to enjoy reduced interest on loans from non-bank financial institutions. This means that they can save up to 1.5 million Korean won, or more than $1,000 on interest payments. With these measures coming just ahead of the Lunar New Year, which falls on February 10th this year for South Korea, the government will also be creating a new fund of just under $30 billion to support SMEs during the holidays. Another group that will be given additional support over the holiday period will be stall owners at traditional markets, with the total value of coupons issued that can be spent at stalls this year raised from 4 trillion won to 5 trillion won, or around $3.8 billion. But it's not just businesses that the government is supporting. people can buy train tickets for KTX and SRT trains at a discounted price for travel between February 9th and 12th. There'll also be a highway toll exemption during the same period. Prices of 16 food items that are typically used during memorial services during the Lunar New Year, such as apples and mackerel, will have bigger discounts. And as fruit prices have been climbing in South Korea, the government will be exempting trade tariffs for more types of fruit in order to import 300,000 tons of fruit and ensure the average price of products related to the holiday is lower than last year. In the meeting, the ruling party also spoke of the need for concrete measures to ease the burden of college tuition fees for students. Moon Hae-ryun, Arirang News.
Korea will host the world's largest chip cluster by the year 2047 with some $471 billion of investment from Samsung and SK hynix. The plan was shared during the latest policy briefing on this Monday in the format of a forum open to the public held in Suwon, Gyeonggi-do Province. Relevant government authorities pledged to promote corporate-led initiatives to foster cutting-edge fabs, research labs and other facilities needed to create a so-called semiconductor industry mega-cluster in Gyeonggi-do Province. President Yoon Suk-yeol added the cluster could create at least 3 million quality jobs. Accordingly, he urged for comprehensive support, including sufficient nuclear energy to power the project, as well as continued tax incentives for related businesses. Also, Seoul's Trade Ministry is seeking better support for small businesses in key industries such as semiconductors, displays and rechargeable batteries. The ministry also on this Monday spoke of providing over 90 billion won or $68 million of R&D support to such SMEs this year. The support will be available in the form of low interest rate loans. Now, each company will be eligible for up to some $3.8 million at an interest rate of 1.84% under a repayment framework of 3 years. The ministry is hoping to expand its support plan by providing some $300 million over the next 4 years. This year's Consumer Electronics Show over in Las Vegas came to a close, with companies not simply showcasing their products, but also seeking synergy with corporate partners. Our business correspondent Shin Ha-young reports.
World-renowned tech show CES 2024 came to a close on Friday in Las Vegas after showcasing a diverse array of technology driven by AI for daily use. According to the Consumer Technology Association, over the course of the week, some 4,300 exhibitors and 135,000 attendees came together for major announcements, product launches, and the opportunity to collaborate. As anticipated with the theme All Together, All On, this year's CES featured AI technology from across a variety of industries. As if to underscore this year's theme, among the keynote speakers was America's biggest retailer, Walmart, participating in CES for the first time, where it described how the integration of AI across its website will be used to study shopper behavior. French cosmetics giant L'Oreal also took the stage, marking the first ever keynote at CES by a beauty company.
We believe that tech can push the boundaries of what's possible, help us improve the lives of consumers around the world, and cater to the infinite diversity of beauty needs and aspirations of every individual.
CES 2024 served not only as a venue for exhibitors to showcase their cutting-edge technologies, but also as a place for collaboration between industries. Germany's automation company Siemens teamed up with Sony to launch a new mixed reality headset equipped with AI this year. Walmart unveiled a generative AI search tool that enables shoppers to search for products by specific use cases instead of one item at a time by combining Microsoft's AI models with its shopper data. Collaboration was easily observed by South Korean firms as well. Samsung Electronics and Hyundai Motor Group have partnered to integrate their platforms to connect living spaces and mobility. It allows users to control things, including starting their car from inside the house or turning off home appliances from the car. Like last year, human security was a key future agenda, indicating that the advancement of technologies represented by AI should be used to solve crises facing humanity. South Korean tech giants LG Electronics and Samsung Electronics have identified security as the foremost task in the AI era, emphasizing the need for strong security against potential threats. CES returns to Las Vegas for 4 days starting on January 7th next year. 신하영, Arirang News.
One local factory has employed robotic arms that mimic movements of the human hand for work on assembly lines, and researchers add they can be directed to tackle tasks that require a higher degree of dexterity. Our Chung Won-ju explains.
In this factory, robotic arms carry out assembly tasks using predefined paths that were programmed by experts. A person moves their hands while holding a control stick, and their movements are saved in the computer. Once the action is complete, pressing the execute button spurs the robotic arm into action. It's able to precisely polish the surface of a car by following the sequence traced by the control stick.
It's possible to direct the robot's movements using tools that separate and control difficult tasks in stages.
The technology can be applied not only to surface polishing, but also to tasks like opening or closing doors and assembling or disassembling parts.
It's a technology that allows people who aren't experts to get robots to perform high-difficulty tasks that require complex motion control, but without the need for separate programs.
The research team plans to expand research beyond intelligent robot arms to include autonomous driving, environmental perception, and reinforcement learning. Chung Won-ju, Arirang News.
In other news, Korea's An Se-young has won the Badminton World Federation's Malaysia Open and beat Taiwan's Tai Chi-ying by 2-1 on Sunday in Kuala Lumpur. This latest triumph is her first international victory following the top honor at the Hangzhou Asian Games last year. And the world's top-ranked player in women's singles has been struggling with a knee injury. Gangwon province is poised to host the Winter Youth Olympics starting on Friday. And as our culture correspondent Song Yoo-jin stresses, solidarity and sustainability will seek to unite the young athletes.
Get ready to meet the future stars of winter sports. There's just a few days to go until Asia's first Winter Youth Olympic Games kicks off in South Korea's Gangwon province. 1,900 athletes aged between 15 and 18 years old will compete in 15 disciplines across 7 sports. Emphasizing sustainability, the Games will mostly reuse the venues from the 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. The Gangneung Ice Arena is once again the stage for curling, figure skating, and short track speed skating. The nearby Gangneung Hockey Center will host ice hockey as well as 3-on-3 ice hockey, a Youth Olympic exclusive discipline.
So this is the Gangneung Oval, which will host the speed skating events as well as the opening ceremony. Now, just a month ago, this oval had concrete floors because it had been used as a film studio and an exhibition hall after the 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. But now, as you can see, the floors are gleaming white with ice, ready for the Games.
There's no need to worry about ice quality, as the International Olympic Committee gave the rink a green light when it conducted ice-making tests last March. But before the Games, the Oval will first be the stage for the opening ceremony. In charge is Apollo Yang, the executive producer of the opening and closing ceremonies of the Pyeongchang Olympics. Despite a smaller size and budget, the message is anything but small.
Our theme, Let Us Shine, puts the spotlight on each and every athlete participating in the Games. They're all the main characters, and the future holds infinite possibilities. We're aiming for a youthful, modest, yet vibrant ceremony that reflects the dreams and dynamism of teenagers.
And for the first time in Olympic history, Gangwon 2024 will feature a digital cauldron using cloud computing. This again links to sustainability.
If we were to use the traditional cauldron, we would need to use gas. As we've become more conscious and aware about the environment, we wanted to try something new.
As excitement builds, Gangwon 2024 is gearing up to inspire and entertain athletes and fans around the world. Song Yoo-jin, Arirang News, Gangneung.
Let's take a look at the latest news in the world now. In Ecuador, police and military on Sunday reportedly freed all prison staff members who had been held hostage by inmates. The Ecuadorian government deployed not only soldiers and police, but even tanks for the national operation. Ecuador's SNAI prison agency confirmed that all 158 guards and 20 administrative staff held hostage at 7 jails since last Monday have now been freed following the security forces' operation on Saturday evening. It also said that 1 prison guard was killed and 1 injured while held captive. Ecuador President Daniel Noboa declared a 60-day state of emergency last week following the national security crisis involving a violent TV station takeover, explosions in several cities, and kidnapping of police officers. The nationwide chaos followed the escape from prison of Ecuador's most powerful crime boss, Adolfo Macias of the Los Choneros gang, last Sunday. In Denmark, King Frederick X ascended the throne on Sunday. The new Danish monarch was seen welcomed in by large and admiring crowds who gathered in Copenhagen. The 55-year-old new monarch had his succession publicly proclaimed by the Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen from the balcony of the Christiansborg Palace, as per tradition since the Constitution of 1849. King Frederick is taking over the crown from his mother, 83-year-old Queen Margrethe II, who signed a declaration of her abdication in a meeting of the Council of State on Sunday after serving 52 years as monarch. In Colombia, a deadly mudslide has killed at least 34 people and injured dozens. The mudslide struck a road connecting the cities of Quibdó and Medellín on Friday. The governor's office for the Choco region said on Saturday that only 17 of the 34 bodies had been identified. Colombian President Gustavo Petro described the landslide as a horrible tragedy, and Vice President Francia Marquez said that a number of people are still trapped under the landslide, including several children. In Iceland, lava from a volcanic eruption in the early hours of Sunday morning set houses alight in the fishing town of Grindavik in the country's southwest. The volcano on the Reykjanes Peninsula erupted for the second time in less than a month amid an increase in seismic activity. Authorities evacuated the 4,000 inhabitants of the town the day before, with the town's main road blocked by lava flow. Iceland's Prime Minister called it a black day for Grindavik and a black day for all of Iceland, before adding that the sun will rise again. Sunday marked the 5th eruption on the Reykjanes Peninsula since 2021. Kim Seong, Arirang News.
Good afternoon. Hope you put on extra layers today. Yesterday's wintry precipitation brought bitterly cold air to the country, and sharp winds are dragging down the feels-like temperatures even lower with a cold wave advisory issued in parts of Gyeonggi-do and Gangwon-do provinces. Bundle up and stay safe on the roads. There could be patches of ice from yesterday's wet weather. Figures will stay colder than norms throughout the day today and into tomorrow morning before easing off from tomorrow afternoon. There has been a huge drop in afternoon highs as well, 1 to 10 degrees lower than yesterday, topping out at just 1 degree Celsius here in Seoul, Gwangju at 5 degrees Celsius. Sunny skies are in the forecast nationwide with decent air quality. After the cold snap eases tomorrow afternoon, there will not be a major cold snap for the rest of this week. Meanwhile, east of Gangwon-do in southern provinces could receive a wintry mix at the end of the week. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the international weather conditions.
And those are the headlines at this hour here in Korea. Coming up next is our daily panel session, so do stay with us. Thank you for now.